2016 zoning board of appeals for Addison Township. I'd like to start with the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And may I have a roll call of the board members, please?
Chairman John Hatfield.
Here.
Vice Chair Lauren Smith.
Here.
Trevor Hayward.
Here.
Tony Spina.
Here.
Eric Sanders.
Here.
Robert DeWitt.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of agenda. Anybody have any sections to?
I'd like to make an addition to the agenda.
Okay.
Item 3, the topic would be revised starting time for our ZBA meeting at this session.
Okay. Could we cover that in the board reports? No, because we'll have to go over it.
It has to be an agenda item.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll make that agenda item 3.
So, proposed starting time?
Yeah.
We have a second for that? I'd second it. Proposed and seconded to add an item 3 for proposed ZBA meeting starting time. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item is approval of December 10th, 2015 minutes and January 14th, 2016 minutes. We should add a revised copy of the December minutes in the pack tonight. That has made the requested addition of the on the, I believe it was
The item was who seconded something?
right, who seconded, or who moved and who seconded the approval of the river minutes. Taken care of. And that's been taken care of. Just a revised copy. Any other corrections or additions for December 10th minutes?
Hearing no comments from fellow board members, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 10th and January 14th minutes as printed.
Second that.
All right. Moved and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, we have a roll call vote, please. For the 5 members.
Chairman John Hatfield.
Yes.
Lauren Smith.
Yes.
Trevor Hayward.
Yes.
Tony Spina.
Yes.
Eric Sanders.
Yes.
Okay. December 10th and January 14th. Minutes have been approved as presented to you. Okay. Next item is public hearing for case 16-01, Jeff and Donna Burgoyne, 649 Gravel Ridge Road. I'm going to go ahead and read the request. The applicant seeks a variance in the Addison Township Zoning Ordinance, Appendix 8, Addison Township Zoning Ordinance. Applicant requested 25-foot variance for the placement of septic field from Article 13, Section 13.03, Number 3. Septic systems shall be located a minimum of 100 feet from the lake and shall be designed so that they drain away from the lake and its watersheds and tributaries and any wells. Mr. Burgoyne or representative?
Yes.
I understand we have a revised drawing.
Yes. Did you all receive a copy from Pauline today?
I received an electronic copy.
I have hard copies if you'd like.
Okay, I think that would be. And how does it differ from the drawing we previously seen?
The drawing from the last meeting, we were asking for a 75-foot or a 25-foot variance. Now we're only asking for a 20-foot variance. We've moved the proposed septic field 5 feet north towards Gravel Ridge, so we're further away from the lake. One of the biggest reasons for doing that is Oakland County wanted, if you can see over there to the right, that says Old House location. There's a dotted line. They wanted us to be off or further away from where that foundation used to be just because of soil conditions. However, we did go out there and do perk tests in those exact locations, and he was satisfied with the soil, but we thought it was in the best interest just to move it, get it away from there anyway. So we're actually improving our situation, moving it further from the lake, and we have good perk conditions in the new situation.
I'm seeing dimensions on here as being 75 feet to the corner of the...
Yes, rather, we used to have a longer, skinnier one, so we are in fact, technically we're only shortening it by a foot. We added on another trench, if you will, and shortened it up. So we did move it 5 feet, but then we also went 4 feet wider to account for the decrease in length.
25 variance.
Right, it's technically a 24, but we wanted to keep our variance request the same.
Okay, so the variance request really hasn't changed as dimensions. Okay, it would still use that 25-foot variance as your request.
Right.
But the location has changed slightly and widened the field.
Right, shorter and wider.
Okay.
And Oakland County has approved this layout. They're good with it, and you should have a letter.
I received
Yeah. So Mike Pyler the Oakland County was waiting on your approval, so they would issue the permit, but I have to get something from them to say that they approved it, so you guys would be happy saying that they're...
Right, yeah, we got that. The approval is pending our variance. So, take a quick look here. Yeah, I see the dimension changes on here. Board members, any questions or comments for the applicant?
Just curious, do we have an elevation cross-section of the site?
The cross sections weren't required by Oakland County, but I'd be happy to answer any
Just roughly,
elevation
what would you
questions.
say the difference is in elevation from the field to the lake?
The field to the lake is greater than 12 feet.
12 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
If I could join in on that question, Charlie, I thought that was one of the requirements of elevation of the site.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily, but yeah.
If it's flat, it's not really that imperative, but at 12 feet. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some elevation shots on this for the record, at the least, you know.
On the plan I have up here, I do have some spot elevations in the corner of the system, because I know last month you did ask how it would be changing to the existing grade. And on the west side, it's going to remain about the same grade. And on the east side, it's going to be raised probably about a foot, just so it's more flat, because right now it does slope off some to the east.
Okay, from present grade.
Correct.
Yeah, we're just looking for drainage management or prevention and for the and just so it's recorded for the record as well. So you have a house blocking 2/3 of it, so that helps.
The drainage is directed towards the road, and then from the road it kind of flows towards the driveway, and then it makes its way down to the lake.
So the elevation of this field is actually going to be a little bit higher than the road?
Yes,
Okay, so that would cause most of the drainage to go to the north.
correct.
Surface drainage.
Correct.
Any more questions or comments from the board?
I have none.
I'm sorry?
All right. As I announced last month, we're going to be opening this up tonight for a second public hearing because of a mistake in the publishing of the date for last month's meeting. So I'll open that up now at 7:44 for a public hearing. Anybody would like to speak to this request? Please give your name and address and say whatever you'd like. Anybody?
Going once.
Okay. Well, I guess that's good. We don't have a lot of controversial opinion here. Okay. Hearing no input from the public, public hearing is now closed at 7:45. And we don't have any more questions or comments. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Hayward?
See if I can get all these ducks in a row. Would my case number go? Regarding case number
1601.
1601 at 649 Gravel Ridge Road, parcel 0522153024. Would like to grant variance for the proposed septic system on this lot after all the data that we have in front of us.
The amount of the variance?
Oh yeah, for the variance of 25 feet. And I would like to add in there though, with this variance, if we could give and submit before the variance is carried out, some elevation shots for our records in the township and showing proposed drainage avenues. This is going into, and will be deeded with the
Correct.
deed. I feel like I'm missing something.
I don't think so, as proposed and with the topography layout, right?
That's basically it.
And the deed restriction.
I'm looking for a drawing date on this is 11/24/2015. This was passed out today.
Oh, thank you.
Just drawing.
The motion by Mr. Hayward, I would second as proposed.
Both these drawings have the same date.
Is that right?
Is there a way we can reference one, not the other?
The most latest one is a 15 by 48 foot system, bed system.
Okay, yeah, because they added the row here.
There's no revision date on
15
this?
and 48. It's the new dimensions.
Right. But
The drawing date's the same.
There's not a revision date on this, but with the new elevations on the new plan, I can certainly put the most recent date, so there's a way to distinguish the systems.
When we referenced that new drawing showing topography, the revision of what was presented tonight, which will be dated and revised, have a revision on there, and also spell out in revision what the change was,
Okay.
and the addition of the elevation.
we're going to try and piece together this motion.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Can you read that back?
Lisa, could you,
No, just kidding.
can you make some sense of what we're doing here, or Mr. Hayward, can you restate?
Just once again, regarding, I'd like to make a motion for case 1601, 649 Gravel Ridge, for the variance, to grant the variance of 25 feet for the proposed septic system that we have, to correlate with the plans that we have, dated 11/24/2015, pending revisement and new date with elevations showing drain and elevation, basically.
With deed restriction.
And not to mention, it also is required to be included in the deed restrictions.
And I will second that as proposed again.
Did you get that, Lisa?
I think the microphone might have it.
Yeah, it'll be on recording too. Thank you.
Moved and seconded, any discussion on this? And just a point of discussion and comment, the deed restrictions in this case, I believe, as stated last month, are only to inform any future property owners that this type of a system has been installed. There is no maintenance requirement.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Any other comments? Discussion?
Okay.
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 Please say we have a roll call vote with me last, please.
Lawrence Smith.
Yes.
Trevor Hayward.
Yes?
Tony Smina.
Yes.
Eric Son.
Yes.
John Hatfield.
Yes, thank you. Variance has been granted for 25 feet, and we will try and have a letter with the motion and my signature available tomorrow. I don't know, I'm sure that Polly hasn't promised you that it will be there, but she's going to try and have it done. Great. We'll be able to start immediately.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your patience.
As far as the updated drawings, do I, when I get them from engineering, give them Pauline's?
Give it to Paul.
Okay.
And they'll go in the permanent file.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll have a public forum in just a few minutes.
Just wanted, it's my wife down, and I'm Jeff Burgoyne, just wanted to thank you both.
Okay. All right. Good deal. It's been a week. That is, any relation to General Burgoyne?
No, I guess that. Different stuff.
Okay, next item is correspondence received.
No. Aye. Number 3.
All right, thank you.
We'll start in time.
Would you want?
This Monday's board meeting, township board meeting, we had this discussion on starting earlier.
Don't wait
And specifically made that the township board meeting will be starting at 6 o'clock. The thinking was that it would lend itself for more attendance by the residents. Instead of going home, getting settled in, they could hit it early in the evening on the way home, or to that matter. So we changed the starting point for the township board meetings, starting in April,
For the annual report.
yeah, at 6 o'clock. Okay. So what I was going to propose, I don't know what the board here feels, if we change this to 6 o'clock.
The planning commission on Tuesday night voted to have theirs at 6 o'clock also.
Did that already?
Yes.
Well, okay. Thanks for your input. Lauren.
Yep.
So, here we are.
Is that a motion?
Well, yeah, I make a motion that we change our starting date for the zoning board of appeals to 6 p.m.
I'll second that.
Starting April.
Starting in April, yeah.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? Any big problem for anybody?
I'm retired, no problem.
Mr. Mayor?
Well, it is what it is. It is,
Daylight time for
yeah,
good this summertime.
yeah, but that's all right. I can manage. Well,
That makes this meeting the same as our meeting the other night, everybody except one, so you have that privilege, and I understand it. Okay, I don't think we have to talk about it very much.
Okay.
I don't object to that.
There you go.
So we'll do a voice vote. Moved and seconded that Addison Township ZBA start their meetings. It would be beginning in April at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m.
Second Thursday of every month.
Correct.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Yep, aye.
Okay, all opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. Now you're going to move on to that other business. Correspondence received, other than has been reported for this case, I know of none. Zoning Board of Appeals reports, I have none. And see, report of the Planning Commission liaison. I understand you have some news for us, Mr. Smith.
Discussed Tuesday night about some restrictions and inspection reports and et cetera for some of these things that are put in. It was commented that these, I would call it super systems are not being inspected very well as they're being put in. We had a discussion Tuesday night. Everybody is stuck on the word engineered field. And I think that's a common thing talked about in the building industry. You go to get a permit from the county and you don't have proper drainage for a normal system, they put in an engineered system. And I suggested that we have a little different name for the thing like we did tonight. We call it a super engineered system. And some of the recommendations that are going to come down from our planning commission to the ZBA is that the super fields or super systems be inspected by our township inspector. So we'll have to see what the wording is, we'll have to see what it is, but that's the gist of what's going to come down.
That's going to be going to the Township Board.
Well, it'll come down soon.
Okay, oh, very good.
Yeah, it'll come down. And obviously, there's only 2 days between Tuesday and Thursday, so Rand Bowen will have the wording, et cetera, and the recommendations for next month for us at the planning commission.
Cool.
So, it's in the work.
And there'll be some definition of what a super engineered system is.
I would hope so, because that's what discussed. I mean,
As opposed to.
like I say, it's just common talk engineered system, well.
They just
there's
dig it
two
out
kinds.
and say,
That's exactly
All
right.
engineered systems.
Formally, that was an engineered system, but these are obviously different, and they should have a little bit of a different nomenclature.
Does that mean there's gonna be like 3 different levels, like a regular approach, an engineer and a super engineer?
Well, the county regulates the whole thing to a point, but it seems like the county, from what I got from a couple of guys at the meeting on Tuesday night, does a good job of inspecting engineered fields. But after these other things are being put in, the county doesn't seem to inspect them as well. There was Chuck, and correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the things were, concerns were a grade and everything when you're done. You know, the county doesn't seem to care what it's put in, if the grade is changed or not, and that was a major discussion, right?
Yes, that was a concern. It's the ground surface water runoff. That if the installed system is higher than the contiguous properties on both sides, it drains down into those properties and can create a culvert over time because of the drainage to the water's edge.
Right.
So there was some discussion about that. Going back, if I may, an engineered system is an alternative septic system. And there are 30 or 40 different systems or types, but engineered just means it's an alternative to a standard gravity system.
Tank and bed system.
Yeah.
And would it be fair to say the super system is more of the low maintenance or no maintenance of the engineered systems? Is that what you guys were talking about?
Well, I think, if I may, the super system, so-called, that's just something that came up during our deliberation. But the mechanical systems being installed today are very sophisticated. They can use infrared light to help initially break down the effluent. They can use different media, such as a plastic or compressed material media embedded with something like the septic pellets that we drop down septics now to help expedite the breakdown and separation of grease from solids, etc. But they're sophisticated systems. Some of them can run $50,000, but most engineered systems, at least according to my research and experience, are $17,000 to $19,000. They're very good systems, but the super systems also have a Bluetooth connection, so they're using radio frequency modulation to actually monitor through sensors in the system, that if the system senses a potential breakdown, it actually alerts a monitoring station similar to ADT.
So you should call it a smart field, not an engineered.
Well, I agree, yes.
We're gonna have to decide what the name is.
But it's just such a sophisticated thing.
Yeah, it's almost like the Elgin is a not-active field, which wouldn't have those type of things, but is still considered to be above.
Yeah, they have some mechanical input to it.
Well, Norwenco does, but the Elgin doesn't even have that.
Yeah, but there are just different systems out there. And eventually, regardless of the system, it's all going to filter back to the lake
Right.
over time.
Right.
I'm gonna trust that the planning commission has this well in hand.
They do, yes, yeah. Lawrence made sure of that.
Now, does the planning commission envision that this would be tied in with the potential change in distance from the lake for each of these various systems, we had asked that to be looked at.
I got the idea from our planning consultant that he didn't think we should change our ordinance. It's going to be a complicated thing because our ordinance is for the township. And to name a lake district sounds real easy, except there's a lot of lakes in Addison Township. So is it for one lake or all lakes? Is it for one area or another area? So I got the gist from the planning consultant that the changing of the 100-foot thing wasn't in his idea of the interest of our township. With these new systems, I think it will be a lot easier to maybe, like we have been doing, granting variances. But I got the idea that they think we should leave the ordinance the way it is. Too complicated to change.
Yes, I agree with what Lawrence has just said. And I understand, as you do, that the our planner, Ray Bowman, is going to draft and submit 4 points. That will come back to, well, the township, to the ZBA. That one of those 4 points is deed restriction, which in the event the property sells, it has to be disclosed that this is the system. And there were 3 other points that he will reduce the writing and circulate back. But his conclusion, as Lawrence said, is that there's no rationale to change the setback from 100 feet to a number less than that.
Even for some of these super engineered systems.
Well, that's what the ZBA is for.
Yes.
Right.
Take each case as an individual.
Right, yeah. But I think having heard that the planning commission is identifying this as a new system and more controls from the inspection process, and to be more aware of elevation like we did tonight, so we know exactly this runoff situation. I think we'll be giving smarter variances, let's say, okay, with these new systems and these situations. So I feel pretty good based on what I heard here tonight.
Yes, if I may, further comment. On the inspection side, I recall, Lawrence, and correct me if my recollection is wrong, but the township inspector will be responsible for inspecting conformance with existing township ordinance. The inspection of the installation for any engineered system relies on the water department of Oakland County and the sanitarian responsible for Addison Township. They're responsible for that inspection, and then the township building inspector or ordinance agent would inspect for conformance for ground surface water runoff, gravel, depth, etc.
Conformance to the documentation presented to the ZBA, which resulted in the variance.
Also conformance to
Each and every
the
time.
current ordinances that state that your runoff has to be limited to thy neighbor's place, or
Yes.
lake or whatever.
Yes, and that's the
The way
key.
Kurt wants.
Yes, and I think that's one of the 3 things that the planner.
To the material that we considered when we granted the variance.
Okay.
That's it.
Those would be the 4 points. That is included. It's one of the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it?
Well, so,
Okay.
here's a slippery slope, no pun intended. If a system did fail, of the super system, let's just say hypothetically, and our building official is doing his due diligence and doing his inspections, but something with the installation or installation inspection failed, somehow the system's failing. Is the county really liable? Is the county really going to come out and take care of and fix that problem? Or are they just liable for finding that problem and bring it to the attention of the homeowners? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying, and my thinking on that is it's a property owner liability.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it all comes down, at least somebody's monitoring, you know.
Yes,
two different
I
sides.
think the county is responsible for inspecting for compliance with the parameters of the permit issued.
Right.
And then the building inspector would be responsible for compliance with existing ordinances applicable to that property, elevation, ground surface runoff,
Right.
etc. And then the homeowner's responsible for paying everything.
But yeah, after the system's running, the homeowner's gonna know first. If there's,
Oh, yes,
the
yes,
county's not gonna know until the homeowner knows.
right, right.
Well, I'd like to, personally, I'd like to encourage these systems. I think they're healthier, cleaner than what we have.
They're advanced.
I'm not selling it, obviously, and I'm not making anything, but it seems like a pretty healthy system for the lake and the community.
It's a good alternative to not knowing what to do with your property when you can't put a new septic system in.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is public forum, and I think we've already heard from Mr. Sargent.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nothing from the camera crew tonight? I would entertain a motion for adjournment. So stated.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.